Hey guys, it's Twister GA, aka Guillermo, and today is our first official episode of the Nerds, Sports, and Life podcast. And I say it's official because this time I brought a co-host. But before I get into that, I just want to explain a little bit about the podcast. And basically, we're going to be talking about three things. In the Nerds, we're going to be talking about video games, animes, movies, things like that. In the sports section, obviously sports, any type of sports from football, UFC, soccer, anything. And then for the life part is going to be current events or anything that happens in our life. So yeah, without further ado, I'm gonna do my amazing co-host, the most popular,
the greatest,
the most
the
wanted
sexiest,
man in the
of
world,
course.
Adam.
Yeah,
So,
and I haven't thought of a stage name for myself, but when I do, you guys will be the first to hear it. So anyway, yeah. So obviously we're gonna be starting off video games, and what better way to start video games than E3, the greatest convention of electronics on the planet? And what greater person to be talking about than the most sexy man alive? I said that wrong, but anyway, we can edit the shit out later.
Nope, we're gonna keep it all in.
Yeah. Okay, so
All right.
first game we were looking to talk about is The Last Guardian, the game that was supposed to come out. Was it 2011 or 2012, but never did?
No, it's like from 2010.
Wow, that far back.
It's been up for a long time. Yeah.
Jeez. So, what are your thoughts on it, Guillermo? I know you've played your favorite game of all time, Shadow of Colossus. This is the same people who created that game, who made this game. So, what do you think? From watching the trailers in E3 and all of the talk about it, what do you think what do you think the game's going to be about? What is the gameplay? What are you thinking?
So basically, it seems to be more of like a puzzle game. It doesn't seem, from what we saw in the E3 things, it doesn't seem like it's going to be much of an action game. It seems to be more of a puzzle platformer,
Okay.
which is a bit more like what their first game, Ico. So the company's called Ico,
Okay.
or Ico. I don't know, I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
however you pronounce it.
Yeah, but it seems to be more like that instead of Shadow of the Colossus. But the art design, everything about it, still looks exactly like Shadow of the Colossus, things like that. So it still definitely looks cool. I think the beast looks pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Whatever
cat
it is, it's a
griffin
dog.
thing.
Is it a dog? Or
I don't know. It's like a
I
raccoon.
don't think it's even a dog. I don't know what the.
A raccoon.
I have no clue.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you think it'll have any sort of resemblance to Shadow of the Colossus in that it's going to be? Are we going to be fighting like giant statue things, or do you think it's just going to be focused mainly on you just focus like heavily on puzzles, or what do you?
Yeah, it seems like it'll be more focused on puzzles. Like, I think from what we saw, it seems like we're just trying to get the giant bird thing
Yeah.
to a certain place. So basically, just keeping him moving along.
Okay.
It seems like that, but I don't know. We only got
Yeah,
one stage,
obviously
so
you can't.
I don't think there's gonna be combat though. The kid seems too small.
Yeah, it doesn't seem. I can't really see room for any weapons in this game. I mean, maybe like magical swords or something, but
Or maybe you control the bird.
yeah,
thing.
that would be interesting. What's
That
interesting?
would be it.
It's like when you look at God of War. I think that was a good example of a puzzle game that crossed combat really well.
Mhm.
Like the whole
Oh,
God of
yeah.
War series, like it did a lot of things really well. But I think you could go like fighting minotaurs and chopping ghouls' heads off, and the next minute you have to figure out how to get up a ledge, and it's not. You have to push things around. I think that did a really good job. I think a lot of games these days try to focus too much on just one sort of thing. Like when I was playing, as I'm playing Dragon Age Inquisition, I'm noticing that it's very open world. Like, because I notice a lot of people ask for open world this, open world that. We don't want to be able to explore. I'm like, yeah, that's really great, but if you focus just on that, it takes away from everything else. So
Yeah.
if you focus like just on exploration, then if the developers are going to go, okay, we gotta get that, they're going to focus on that heavily, and then it's going to take away from the story, the mechanics. And the art, I mean, I guess art design kind of falls in line with exploration because obviously you want to have a nice looking environment to explore in. But like I said, I think the two main things, like you got to have all three. You can't have, and I think developers nowadays focus too much on just one big thing that a lot of the community asks
having the
for.
world super big. That's it.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, I can run around and get materials, but I can also do that in Minecraft. I don't.
Yeah, there's like nothing in the world.
I know, there's no
It's just a big empty world. Yeah, it seems because they don't have enough time sometimes to make anything.
Mm-hmm.
They just focus on making the world really, really big, and then they don't fill it with anything important or meaningful.
It's like
Which seems to be a
you
problem.
look at BioWare and like all their games have been story driven, like RPG. It's not MMORPG. If I wanted a really super open world game, I would play an MMORPG or an MMO. But like the reason I play Dragon Age or Mass Effect, or I mean Mass Effect was interesting because you could explore different planets, so I guess that was kind of cool. But in the sense like I think it should be tied. Like as for dragons, like I don't want to spend time running around looking for places. Like I want to immerse myself in the story. Like enjoy the combat mechanics. I think obviously all three are necessary because I don't want like just story and combat mechanics and no environment whatsoever. Just A to B, A to B, A to B. But that also say like I don't want it so huge where it's like I literally spend 7 hours side questing and completely forget what the actual story was. Like that almost happened. Like when I was playing Dragon Age, I went to the Hinterlands and I could not, like I was so many side quests, I couldn't even remember I was like, wait a minute, what?
You don't like that?
You know, yeah, like I side quests is good when you can tie them into the main story. Like if there's say the main story says you need to go to this place, and in this place, like how, say for example, like you were in one place and then you talk to like 2 or 3 people and they say, oh, you know, whatever, can you help me with this, can you blah 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 blah, and then you get to the main story and it says I need you to go here and all the other side quests are there, and I'm like, yeah, that's good, that's fine, because then I can do the side quests and the main story in that area. But when you go to an area and you have to run and you know, constantly be looking for resources and constantly, you know, side quest over here, side quest over there, and it's just I think you focus too much on one thing. Like I said, obviously you can't go too much one way, and you can't do too little environment, you can't do too much. I think it's and like you said, it's really hard to, you know, find game developers are, you know, being pressured into make the game fast, money, because the publishers, you know, they want the money, they want the income, and I think we should give them time so they can, you know, this is a whole different problem in it of itself, but obviously finishing the games, making sure they're actually finished, and not just releasing DLC.
DLC before the game's actually finished.
It's like releasing half the game and then releasing the other half in DLC. But I think obviously giving enough time to have good story, good combat mechanics, and an open environment. Not super open, but open enough to explore, but have there a point to going there. Not just go over there for fun, like, oh, I wonder if there's iron or something. Like actually have like a part of the sort of like a sub story there that will lead into the main story. That's how I think. Like obviously, as you can tell, I'm kind of a fan of RPGs, but I mean, just
I'm fine with like side quests that really don't have anything to do. So Skyrim does a lot of that, where some of the side quests don't have anything to do with the main story, but that's because the main story is really weak to begin with, and it's all about the side questing basically. Yeah. So I'm not sure if you'd actually like that.
Yeah, well, I actually played Skyrim a little bit, and I didn't. It was like, it depends on like what you like. Like it's weird you think of gamers because like the community itself is kind of it almost like doesn't make sense, because you have a bunch of people calling for open world, or a bunch of people calling for more story, or a bunch of people calling for more mechanics, and it's like all these things being tugged. And if you remember, like when we took that class with Mr. Matthews talking about game design, and he talked about how you have to put the balance in it. It's interesting to see because, you know, there were people who, when Dragon Age Inquisition, you know, super open world, people were like, yay, you know, this is amazing. Other people were like, you know, it takes away from the main story itself. And then there are, you know, people who like say, oh, you sacrifice some of the mechanics, you know, you know, because, I mean, obviously Dragon Age, the whole series didn't have very good battle mechanics to begin with. It's kind of weird. I mean, it's weird. Yeah. For the game, I guess you kind of had to have it that way, but it's like, I don't know. So what do you think? What is the most important aspect of a game to you?
To me, probably the gameplay mostly.
Yep.
I mean, the story can be okay, but as long as the gameplay is super fun, I'm okay with it. So like, my favorite game of all time is basically Shadow of the Colossus, and it had absolutely no story to it. And but the gameplay, the fighting the giant bosses, all that stuff was just so much fun that I didn't really care about the storyline. Yeah. And same thing with Dark Souls. I mean, there's really no story to Dark Souls, but the gameplay still keeps it insanely fun.
Yeah.
And obviously the aesthetic also helps a lot in both those games.
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously the visuals is. I mean, you look at Last Guardian. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. The lighting, the shadows, the effects, everything. Like even the wind, like you can see it ruffling its feathers. Like it's pretty impressive. And same with Dark Souls. Yeah. You look at, but I feel like you like Dark Souls is like a game meant for that. Like you coming in because Demon Souls, like you knew Dark Souls was gonna be like that was the point.
There was no story.
You knew that's why you played the game, was for the simple fact that you can how good are you? Like, can you beat the bosses? Are you good enough? You know.
Well, that's a good game about, like, it's open world in a way because you can go in a lot of places, but it's still like, you're forced to go. There's only one way to go, but you still have an open world basically.
Yeah, there's like I was saying, there's different places, but it all leads to one place.
Yeah, it all leads to one place. Yeah,
So you can go in
and
this
that's pretty
area.
cool. It makes it easier for the game developers to have cool enemies, better action.
And that's the kind of game where it would make sense because obviously it's not, there's not really much story to it, so you're just practically none. You're just fighting bosses because you want gear, you want to find hidden chests. Like, these are the things that you want to see, and so you want to have that for a game like Dark Souls. That's something you almost need. You almost need it because you gotta get better gear and fight different types of monsters. And obviously, I will admit to using a little bit of the IGN guide, just a little bit. I kind of want to know where some of the stuff is. So
Yeah, just that's the problem with the current open world. A lot of games are becoming open world right now. It might be just a phase, it might be just.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
Like, there's nothing. I don't have anything probably inherent like No Man's, which we'll get to later. But the game called No Man's Sky that's coming out, like, that's amazing. Like, that type of game.
Yeah, huge.
Oh my god, that just looks spectacular because that's the point of it. Like, you're supposed to explore and venture and things, but if you took a game like it's like Final Fantasy. Like, if you took Final Fantasy and just made it completely open world, it's like the point of Final Fantasy is. The mechanics, like, I feel it was the mechanics in the story. Like, if you just make it, search wherever you want. It's like, I feel that would take away from it a little bit. Maybe not, but I guess it comes down to personal preference.
Yeah. Well, I heard a lot of people, I haven't played much Final Fantasy, but I know that a lot of people weren't happy with I think the first part, I don't know the one with lightning, I'm not sure which Final Fantasy it was.
Or 12,
I think so, yeah. But a lot of people were angry that the first part of the game was all just on rails, just one way.
Yeah.
I'm not actually sure how the Final Fantasy universe works.
No, I don't either. But it was maybe a bad example. I don't know. But yeah, it's true to go the other way too. You don't want to make it too linear because that was the problem with Dragon Age 2, which is probably why people were so adamant about Dragon Age 3. Because Dragon Age 2, it started to they reused environments. It was a system where, like, if I had to go to the deep roads to, kill Darkspawn or whatever, in part of a main story going, and then I would do that and go back, and then there'd be another story, and they'd say, you have to go back to the deep roads, and I'd go to the deep roads, and they didn't change anything. Like, it was exactly the same as when I went the first time. So,
yeah, that would get boring.
Yeah, so obviously you can't.
Well, I mean, the development time in that game was like a year, less than a year. It was out, and I'm like, damn, I didn't.
Gets to the main problem of we got to give these developers more time. And they have to, but in return, they have to make a lot better games.
Yeah, and then the worst part is, like, it's getting even harder, longer times to make games, but we're giving them less and less time.
I know, and that's a really dumb thing. So, but I feel like a game like Metal Gear Solid, like, I think combat mechanics are huge in that game. Like, the fighting the bosses, that's probably. I mean, obviously the story is really good in that game too, but I think that's a game that does a pretty good job of combining story and mechanics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because it was really fluid combat combined with a pretty compelling story. So, I think that's the type of game that, because from everything I've looked at, from all the reviews I've seen of games, I've almost never heard anyone say anything bad about the Metal Gear Solid series or Metal Gear series.
Yeah, it seems like it's apart from, like, the newest one, which was the biggest problem people had was just too expensive for how much it had.
Yeah,
but I heard that it was actually a good game. It's just too expensive.
Well, that's good.
I'm thinking of maybe starting to play the Metal Gear Solid games. I know there was a remastered version for the PS3, so I might check it out sometime in the future.
Definitely something to look at. And on the open world, which is the interesting contrast, you look at the game Mass Effect Andromeda, or the Mass Effect series in general, a game that took open world to a whole new planet. See what I did there? See what I did there? That was so clever.
No, I didn't.
Oh, fine. But anyway. You look at this game like Mass Effect, like, the reason Mass Effect 1 was so amazing is because you could explore planets. So, I mean, and it still had a compelling story. Like, I don't know if maybe the way you could just drive around in a giant Humvee tank and blow shit up and use jets to fly off mountains. Like, I don't know, maybe it was that, but just the way they did that in Mass Effect 1, it was just perfect. Like, something about that, like, even if you didn't like open world games, this would be a game to play. Like, it's just so...
Well, yeah, because it was Mass Effect 1 and 2, it was like open world, but it was limited too, so they didn't have to.
Yeah, you didn't
overly do too much.
Yeah, like, you could only land on some planets. I mean, you could still click on each planet and read the description of it, what it's composed of, what's the history of it, blah 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 blah. And another thing with Mass Effect is, obviously, I mean, that's, I guess, kind of the premise. Like, you're exploring the galaxy. Like, that's the point.
Yeah.
But I think that's why I feel maybe that's the difference between Mass Effect and Dragon Age, because Inquisition was the third installment of the series, so you kind of knew all there was to explore. Like, you've done it all before, and I mean, not so much that. Maybe I was just really looking forward to a story, and just I'm completely biased and hasn't been fulfilled yet. So
yeah, well, it seems like the Dragon Age universe doesn't seem to add much to any mythology or anything. It basically just takes what we know from every single mythology and just
it just puts it.
And then let's keep going with the exact same thing.
I know it's interesting. We'll see. We'll see. Well, I haven't finished the game yet, but I'm pretty far through. So we'll see what happens with everything. We'll see if the ending isn't as terrible as Mass Effect 3's ending. To everyone. Be honest, I didn't think it was that bad, but
I still haven't played Mass Effect 3 because of the ending.
Yeah, a lot of people really, really, really hated it. But taking away from Mass Effect 3, we're going to be going back to Andromeda, which it'd be interesting to see what BioWare does with Mass Effect Andromeda, because the ending of Mass Effect 3, they people say they're running from that. They're running from, because obviously Mass Effect Andromeda, the Andromeda Galaxy. We're speculating that we're going to be visiting the Andromeda Galaxy this time. A lot of people are saying,
how did you get that?
I don't know. No, it wasn't because of Andromeda. It was because of Mass Effect. Those are the words that tipped me off. I was like, Mass Effect, Andromeda Galaxy. And it really a lot. Well, there's two things. One, which I can kind of agree with, is that BioWare's sort of trying to distance themselves from the Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. They're trying to okay, we're done with that. On to Andromeda.
It's a different character, isn't it?
Yes, they're trying to, and a lot of people say that, okay, yeah, Shepard's dead, but that doesn't mean we can't still explore the Milky Way.
You spoiled it for me. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I know. Oh no, I'm sorry. Spoiler alert, everyone! If you haven't played Mass Effect 3,
it for me,
which came out in 2011,
a couple of years ago, I'm still waiting for a sale.
I wonder how much the game is. Probably like $20.
It's like $10 for all three of the games.
Pack, yeah, that's pricey.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're saying they're trying to run away because Shepard's dead, and even though Shepard's dead, you still think that we can, explore. I mean, it's not like we explored the entire Milky Way galaxy. I mean, we like a 1/1,000,000th of it, and it's like there's so much more to explore.
Yeah, there's still a lot more.
And yet here we are jumping straight to Andromeda. And another, like, how far in the future is this from the other Mass Effect games? Like, how far are we talking about? Like, 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years? Like, I don't know. I just feel like if they were going to continue it, I feel like they should have done it fairly recently. Like, I'd want to hear about all of Shepard's companions, like, to a point where they're all still alive. Like, 10 years in the future where
like you still want to do Talia again.
Yeah. I was still like, I want to, like, yes, I would like to do Talia again. Which, another thing is Mass Effect 2 screwed me over. When I found out you could romance Talia, I restarted the whole game just to see what her face looked like. And then you get to that romance scene, and she takes her mask, and the camera angle goes away. I'm like, why? I redid all of it for nothing. Fuck you, BioWare. Fuck you.
Luckily, I picked Talia as the first time.
I know. I didn't even know you could. Like, that's why I tried talking to her and shit. Like, what? Because the way Mass Effect romance, you have to do like certain missions with them. Yeah. And I didn't do that. And
I always had her in all my missions too.
I didn't.
I always just filled myself with chicks. I was no guys allowed.
I always used Garrus and Rex, to be honest. Because
Garrus is pretty cool.
Rex was
I like having him too.
Like, he's such a good melee tank thing that you just run through. And Garrus was he's just a really well programmed AI. He knew combat really well.
He knew what to do.
And then I never kept anybody with biotics. I never used anybody. And I also took Miranda too. She had a nice ass.
Yeah, I think I took Miranda, Talia, and Garrus. I switched off on them, but I always had Talia on.
Yeah, Talia. I took Talia. Well, Mass Effect 1, I took Talia all the time because she was the thing that hacked all the. Because when you'd visit other planets, you'd have to get to the probes, and I'd always have her hack them open. So I took her all the time. I wanted to romance her in Mass Effect 1, but no, so I just romanced Ashley.
You only had two options, right?
Yeah, you had Ashley and Liara.
And I didn't get Liara till the end of the game because I didn't even know you could get her.
I got Ashley, and then she turned out to be a royal bitch. I was like, fuck you. In the second game, so I was like, whatever, okay, fine. And then I just assumed, like, game 1, you still couldn't romance Tali. Like, I just figured they didn't change it. And then when I found out they did, I restarted the whole game.
Was it worth it? Maybe.
No, it was, because Tali.
Did you continue your save game battle from the second one?
Yeah, I did. I went on to the third one with that.
I'm not even on the same computer, so I'd have to replay all of them.
Yeah, it's worth it. Even when you get to the ending, it may not be as terrible I don't know. It depends.
No, it's as bad as everything.
Because people, the gaming community is known not to overreact. But yeah, so what are your thoughts on the new Mass Effect game? Anything?
No, I haven't even seen the trailer. I still have to play the third one before I can even say anything about the new one because I haven't seen much about it.
I guess into let's see. Do we want to?
I'll wait till the whole trilogy is done before I play.
Yeah, the whole Mass Effect Andromeda trilogy. All right.
Yep, before I even play the first one.
Before I even look at it, but before I play Mass Effect 3, I'll wait till the entire Andromeda trilogy. So.
Basically, I don't like waiting.
All right, so then we have No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky, yeah.
By watching this trailer, it just seems really just the visuals. This game, I think, is going to focus a lot on visuals because, it's so
the huge open world.
ridiculous. You watching the trailer now, and it's just, I don't know. It looks. Did they say how open world? Do you just go from planet to planet to planet?
It seems like you can just go everywhere.
Everywhere.
The thing I'm wondering is what you do in there, though.
Yeah, is it going to be like a Minecraft thing where you survive?
Yeah, is it just a Minecraft? Because if it's just a Minecraft thing, I've already played Minecraft. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. Again, with the open world games, if I really want to be open world, I'll just play Minecraft.
Yeah, it seems like it's just. I don't know. We haven't really learned what we're doing or what our goal is. So.
Yeah, maybe there's a story behind it. I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully, because if it's just that,
if it's just taking pictures,
exploring will be cool, but. I don't know how long I could just do that for. If there's no point to exploring.
Yeah, if you can what it looks like, there's a colony of people, because when as I'm watching the show, he's flying out into space, and it looks like there's a lot more, there's multiple explorers.
Did you see the conference on No Man's Sky?
No, I've just seen the trailer.
It was on Sony's conference.
Nice.
Oh.
Did the developers say anything about it, or is it just?
No, they didn't say what you do.
They just said.
They just talked about how big it was and how you could basically explore a crap ton of places, but there was no mention of what the hell we're doing in there.
Because it looks like there's combat, from watching.
Yeah, it seems like there's combat. They said you could join different factions and fight, but I'm not sure what the point of joining the factions would be.
Is it multiplayer?
They didn't mention it. I don't think they mentioned that.
Because I think that would be...
We really have no idea.
That would be the only thing.
They were just showing off how big the world is, basically, but they didn't really tell us what we're doing in there.
Is it for all platforms?
I know it's... Yeah, I think it is. Even on PC. So I'm going to be getting it on PC.
Yeah, the best way to run it.
Yeah.
Now let's start the console wars again. PS4, Xbox One, both suck compared to the PC.
One thing I'm happy about the Xbox 360 is the Gears of War games are finally coming out to the PC, and I every time I would go over to one of my friends' house, Nikita, he'd have Gears of War 2, and I loved Gears of War 2. That was one of the reasons I was thinking of getting an Xbox 360 because of Gears of War 2.
The Gears of War?
Yeah, the Gears of Wars were really, really fun. They were really cool.
Yeah.
The combat was amazing.
Yeah, I got a bit chainsawing a, whatchamacallit, zzz, cut him right down the middle.
Mm-hmm. It was really cool. And then the wave-based missions, zombies type thingy.
Yeah, it was...
That was really cool. The graphics and the animations were all really cool. The way the soldier felt was heavy. It was awesome. I liked it. And but I never got a 360, so I never got to play any of the Gears of War. So it seems like they're bringing the first one. They're remastering the first one on the PC, and hopefully they bring the last two onto the PC too.
Wow.
So I can finally play some Gears of War.
Definitely normal-sized people.
Yeah, not overly buff.
Wow, those are pretty impressive humans. Those are steroids, man.
Definitely steroids. That's what I look like, though. So.
That's what I look like in real life, so it doesn't matter.
I look just like them.
Ooh, a new Godzilla game, too. That's interesting.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, it's called Godzilla. Surprise, surprise.
Godzilla saved the Earth, too.
Yeah. Wow. I always love the original Godzilla fighting games.
The Godzilla games are fun. The fighting games, a huge-ass tail.
It's awesome.
I don't even remember who was broken. I think it was just Godzilla was broken.
What was the one? That was the guy that drilled underground.
I don't remember his name.
He was pretty busted.
Laura.
Yeah, because he would drill up down and knock you up.
And then knock you up, yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Man, yeah, I think Godzilla was the strongest. Though. Space Godzilla was pretty useless.
Mecha Godzilla was my favorite.
Mecha Godzilla.
I was firing the missiles from his chest.
Which one? 2 or 3?
The one that fired the missiles from the chest.
I think it was 2. Mecha Godzilla 2.
Yeah, that one was my favorite. He was so cool. I'm looking at the trailer now. I'll send it to you. It looks pretty awesome. It's got all the original characters, updated graphics.
It's gonna be a fighting game then.
Yeah, it's like Godzilla.
Hey, hopefully it's open world.
Yeah. We can explore. I want to mine some materials and build some armor.
Hopefully.
Has some side quests.
Oh, is it exclusive?
I don't know. It looks like it.
Mm. Oh, they do have Space Godzilla in this too.
Yeah, it's like Godzilla Saves the Earth. But...
Basically, they just keep remaking that game because they had another Godzilla game. Remember?
Yeah, I saw that.
And that they had a Godzilla game on the PS3, and that was basically just a remake of Save the Earth.
And it's come out. It came out yesterday.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it's 7/14/2015. Wow, it came out yesterday.
Oh, wow. Well, it looks like we're this is old news, Adam. Bring me new news. We're behind.
It was at E3. I didn't think it'd come out a month after E3.
Yeah, normally E3, you see something at E3, and you're like, oh, in 3 years it'll be
out in 3 years. And it's like Last Guardian. You'll see it at E3 and it's come out 5 years.
5 years later, and I'm still waiting for it to come out.
Yeah, no, we're gonna have to play this because this is awesome.
Well, jumping off video games, I recently saw the movie. What was it, Inside Out, in theaters?
Was it any good?
Yeah, yesterday, man. That movie was funny as hell.
Yeah.
I went with. Yeah, it was really funny. It was worth watching. It was more adults there than there were kids, but also we went like at 10 at night, so.
Oh, yeah, it's too bad I
It
worked.
was a bunch of adults. The only kids there were my sister and like 2 other kids.
Well, Pixar's known for making kids movies that can appeal to adults.
Yeah,
like,
it was really good.
I mean,
it was really
the
funny.
concept looks really cool because obviously all the different emotions inside a person's brain.
Mm-hmm.
Like just by watching the trailer, I can tell it's going to be a great movie. I think.
Yeah, the movie was funny as hell. And then there's some sad parts in the movie. My sister ended up crying.
yeah, I tell you.
And my dad fell asleep during the movie, and he was snoring, and we had to wake him up.
Some people it appeals to some people.
He just always falls asleep during any movie. You can put any movie. I think once he didn't fall asleep were the Bourne series.
Yeah, it's because it's really like constant. That movies, there's just action. There's just punching.
Yeah,
there's
no action. My dad falls asleep.
Yeah, that it's punching made into a movie. That's what the Bourne the Bourne series is. It's like
fun.
It's Matt Damon beating the crap out of people.
Yeah, so he fell asleep, but I thought that movie was pretty good. It was worth watching. I'll probably buy it.
Out of 10, what would you give it?
I was probably like an 8 or 9.
8 or 9 out of 10. Wow.
Yeah, 8.5 out of 10.
Speaking of movies, Jurassic World.
Jurassic World.
The continuation in the Jurassic Park series.
Does it have anything? Is there any continuation from the last ones, or is it just like a completely new thing?
It's pretty much completely new. Like the only thing they had in the old ones was the Tyrannosaurus Rex in the first movie was in the same one in this movie. So,
that's it.
Yeah, the other than it was. Obviously, you can only do so much with Jurassic Park. I mean, you can only. It definitely.
There's a dragon, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's a flying. Yeah. What was it called? I forget the name of it. It's like I-Rex or something. It's really. It's a. Well, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but it's a genetically
like Mass Effect.
Sorry. Genetically modified dinosaur with obviously, which is a great idea because the thing about movies is they make humans so stupid. Like, yes, like we just make a genetically modified dinosaur.
Why wouldn't we?
Let's just make it. And obviously having a Tyrannosaurus Rex, yeah. And then, like, it's so... I guess that's the way movies have to go, especially movies like that. It has to be things so the plot can progress. Like, instead of just, like, in one of the parts of the movies, they think the dinosaur is missing. So the lady's like, oh my god, I'll go call... headquarters or whatever just because they have a tracker in the dinosaur, but instead of just standing in the pen, like standing in the same place she was to call, she has to go in a Jeep and start driving away and call them. And it's like, why? And then it turns out the dinosaur was actually in the pen the whole time.
Of course.
It's like, why don't you just...
Yeah, but people were smart in movies. The movies have gone nowhere.
Yeah, people actually had a brain.
Man, if there was in horror movies, people were smart. They'd be like, oh, this movie's over in the first 10 minutes.
Like a white guy in a horror movie. I better investigate. That seems like some dangerous shit.
You saw Cabin in the Woods, right?
No, I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
No, maybe. You have to jog my memory a little bit. Is it like...
that was the one where it was like a comedy horror where they're going to a cabin in the woods, and it plays off the funny stuff of the genre.
Oh yeah, is it like the whole white guy looking? I gotta go explore. Let's all.
Yeah, it was like that on purpose.
Yeah,
there was like 5 people,
and they all.
It was hilarious. You should watch. We should watch it sometime. It's really funny.
We can talk about that our next podcast.
I can't spoil it too much.
The whole. Let me grab the flashlight with very little battery. We'll all go separate directions and make sure the lights are all off. Make sure everything's very low on battery.
Basically.
Make sure to explore.
Yeah, horror movies don't make much sense, but they're always fun. I love scary movies.
I guess that's the whole thing of horror movies, though, so they can You know, so it's people can just yell at the screen and tell the actors how stupid they are for doing that. But yeah. So, any other movies? Any other? Apparently, was it Mad Max? Is apparently a great movie, but I haven't seen it. So.
Mad Max? Yeah, I haven't even seen the original one, so I should probably.
Yeah.
I don't think they have anything to do with the originals, do they?
Apparently, it's something, but I don't think you need to watch the originals to understand what was going on in that particular story. Like that Mad Max Fury Road, you could probably just watch it. Because the original, the favorite actor, Mel Gibson, was in the original Mad Maxes.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely not racist, homophobic. Mel Gibson.
He's a good guy, though.
Mel
No, just
Gibson.
kidding.
He's pretty decent. He's like Dick Cheney, good guy. Him and Dick Cheney. I don't know why I made that connection, but
You just Dick Cheney out of nowhere.
It's the first person I can think of when I think of stupid.
Oh, I should have thought of Scott Walker.
Yeah, we could get into that later.
How about not? 30 minutes of Scott Walker. Let's go.
He's an
You wanna
idiot.
jump on
He's an idiot. He's an idiot. He's an idiot. But anyway, so that's. I mean, any other movies you can think of?
No, I haven't seen it. We should go to the movies, so
Yeah,
sometime.
should.
We gotta watch. We went on Tuesday, $5, so it was pretty good.
Tuesdays, it's always nice.
Good thing you work on Tuesdays and I
I
don't.
know, isn't that funny? I work.
There was a cute girl at the concession stand, though, so.
Damn it!
So that was pretty good.
Did you get a massive boner? Ha ha ha!
Yes, of course it.
Duh, Adam.
Oh, you're cute. I'm just gonna get a boner.
Oh man.
Hey, do you have anything else on the nerd topics you want to talk about?
Nerd topics. I think that's it for now. Unless I'm a bit behind on everything, but next week or whenever we do the next one, we'll definitely catch up on some stuff.
All right, well, let's jump on to the ads. Not just
Yeah, and here's our 10
advertising.
minutes of ads so we can make money.
Yeah, because we don't have any ads. Nobody's sponsoring this podcast.
Sadly, we're doing this
You'd
free
think
of
for our
charge.
Yeah, you'd think for our first episode we'd already have tons of sponsors.
My ideas are worth money. Let's put it back.
Probably a couple of cents, maybe.
No, a couple $700,000 at least as a minimum, as a
We'd be-
tip.
As a tip. All right, so let's jump on to the UFC fights we saw. You
And
saw
Conor McGregor, the man, the greatest, the Irish hero.
the Irish hero against Chadman.
Against Chedman. So I honestly had never heard of him before this fight.
Well, you're a pretty casual man, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. That's
And so what do you think about the Conor McGregor fight?
Well, I haven't watched a lot of UFC, but from what I've seen, like Conor McGregor is definitely two things: definitely size and strength. Two
Yeah.
things, and not just sizes and mass, sizes and height. Height,
Mhm, yeah.
size,
He's the tallest one in that weight class.
yeah. Which gives you I didn't think about it now, but it obviously gives you a clear advantage. Now, not to say it's impossible to win, but the taller you are, the more likely you are to win.
Gives you
Because
basically, especially in that weight class, I think he drops like 30 or 40 pounds to make that weight cut, and then he puts it back on. So he's like walking. He's fighting at like 170. So he's fighting at heavy. Most fighters do that, but he's just his height plus the extra weight. He had to drop 20 pounds that week of the fight. I don't know how he did it, but he dropped it.
I can't gain 1 pound in a month.
It's all water weight, but I don't know. If I lost my water weight, I'd be down to like 20.
I'd be dead. Anyway, but yeah, no, it's definitely. I mean, their styles definitely come out. Obviously, Conor McGregor more boxing, like he just punch, kick, keeping
Kicks,
the
yeah.
other guy at a distance because obviously the other guy was much more on the ground wrestling type. So Conor's goal was punch, kick. Try to keep him on the outside. Make sure that he can't get no diving in to grab his legs. Like he definitely tried to block that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you, when the other guy did get him on the ground, what was his name?
Chad Minnis?
Chad Minnis. When Chad Minnis did get him on the ground, I mean, he beat him brutally,
beat
like
him pretty hard.
elbow. It's like right elbow, left elbow, right elbow, left elbow. It's just, and, Conor's sitting there like, ref, come on, this is
One
boring.
of the things that would have been really one of the things that would have been really bad is if the 5 rounds was just Chad Minnis wrestling Conor and keeping him on the ground for 5 rounds. It was like basically the most hype fight in the UFC, and if that would have happened, that would have been terrible for the UFC.
Yeah, because
Luckily, it was pretty exciting, honestly.
Yeah, because if it was just that, keeping him down the whole time, it wasn't. To be honest, it was probably the most boring part because it was just him getting elbowed.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like the wrestling part or the jiu-jitsu on the ground.
Yeah, because I mean, I get it, but it's just a lot of rolling around.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, obviously, you look at the Manny Pacquiao and Mayweather fight, like that wasn't very interesting either. It was just a bunch of hugging.
A lot of running.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Yeah, depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for pure violence,
Yeah, I mean,
then it can't be. It's not very fun.
it's like you have to do. It's not even the sport. It's now. It's just the people, like what they're willing to do. Like if you took Conor McGregor and put him against Conor McGregor, that would be a fucking fight.
That would be pretty crazy.
That would be a fight. Like I would. That would be one to pay $90 for.
Well, that's basically what Jose Aldo is going to be. They're both really crazy kickers and punchers.
That's good.
Jose Aldo breaks arms basically with kicks.
That's good.
So that will be an intense fight to watch.
So yeah, that'll have to be one to mark on your calendars because those are the kind of fights that you want to bet on, that you want to like get riled up for, because that is like the wrestling. Like I don't have a problem with wrestling. It's just like in terms of like how interesting it is to watch,
Mm-hmm.
not very.
Not very.
But yeah, obviously flying kicks and punches are way more fun.
That's why heavyweight's always super popular, because there's no wrestling in heavyweight.
No, because they're heavy. It's
They're
heavy. You know, you don't want to. It's not as easy to pick someone up when they weigh 200 pounds.
Yeah, it's hard to keep it. If they get down, they just get punched so bad, and then they just stand up. They don't do much on the floor, so it's always knockouts.
Which is how you want it
what
to be.
people like. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely though, Conor McGregor, his skills, his talents, obviously, basically keeping off the ground, just punching and kicking, and like when you look at the final knockout, like you for a second there you kind of thought he was going to lose. You kind of thought that the elbow was going to get him. He was just going to tire out, but it actually backfired on the other guy. I keep forgetting his name. Chad Minnis. It backfired on Chad because he wore himself out.
Yeah, basically. Plus the kicks to the stomachs.
Yeah, he spent so much time just trying and Conor, Conor knew where to hit him. He basically just knew where and when to hit him.
Yeah, he knew how to time him. Well, because the other guy didn't have a full camp, full training camp, so he was definitely way in less shape. So. But he got beat. It was pretty good.
It was, especially the last knockout, you got the right hook or the left hook. That was what really impressed me. Was Conor McGregor's left arm just right and then boom, right across.
Yeah, it was quick right.
That's
left.
A classic knockout. Like that's the scene. That's the Rocky knockout punches. The whole thing. Dude,
and that was the first time Chad Mendes has lost to anybody outside of the champion.
Wow.
He's like 20-something and 2. Now he's 20-something and 3. 2 losses against the champion and then 1 loss against Conor. That's all he has. So he's a good fighter. He's pretty good. That now that Conor McGregor beat him, now there's more hype for the champion fight than ever. Which
will be interesting.
Yeah, that'll definitely be a good fight. I'm not sure when they're fighting, but hopefully it's sometime soon.
That'll be in, you look at it.
This year.
It's going to be a pretty wild fight. Like that's what's going to make it interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll be interesting. And then the other fight that you got to see was the Robbie Lawler versus
that one
Rory McDonald.
That one was intense. That one, a lot of blood, a lot of blood in that one. The guy's nose was shattered. Like it would just hurt.
Yeah, that guy went down as soon as he got.
Yeah, he just gave one punch in the nose. He's like, nope, I'm done. Too much pain.
He was already in bad shape before, but man, there was so much blood in that one. It is crazy. That whole card was insanely bloody.
Yeah, I mean,
like the last time there was a card that bloody there was one card that they fought in Sydney, Australia, which was all knockouts in that whole card. And then before that was a couple of months ago. And then before that, it was just the card where Anderson Silva broke his legs. That was the only other card that I saw was as intense as this one.
Wow.
UFC 180. This was 189, so it's being called like one of the best cards. So you got to see 2 good fights on that one.
That's good. To be honest, I'd have to say the fight before the McGregor and Chad was more intense. I'd have to say that one was even more intense. The Robbie
Lawler fight, yeah, that was way intense.
That was a nail biter. It's like,
yeah, those guys are gonna be. They're getting paid like $500,000.
They're gonna need it. Fixing
all the surgery repairs
for all the broken bones.
So it was a pretty good fight. Those were some good
definitely
fights.
Worth the watch. Women's World Cup, beautiful transition.
Amazing.
I know. USA. We absolutely annihilated Japan. That was 4 goals within like 15 minutes.
Yeah, I don't. Was it?
Yeah, it was.
I didn't even see the whole thing. I saw the ending.
I was going out there and they had it playing like on every fucking screen, everywhere for some reason. I'm like.
All of a sudden, it's popular.
Yeah, all of a sudden now when we get to the championship, it's popular. Of course, I guess that's true. Imagine the American men's soccer team got to that would be crazy.
Well, yeah, they were getting close to the finals and it started getting popular in the World Cup, right?
Yep. As soon as we actually started winning.
Yeah, and then as soon as he started losing, people were like, "Oh,
okay."
It seems like soccer's starting to get more popular over here in this thing. Even it's funny because how it's not popular, but every single American kid plays soccer at some time in their life,
which is interesting. That's like it's popular as like a middle school or high school sport, but as a professional sport, it's got like nothing.
Yeah, which is funny because the rest of the world
is obsessed with soccer or football. To them, it's football. To us, because our football doesn't really
involve the foot.
Yeah, and when we call it football, we just do. That's just something America does. We just don't. We're just like, you know what, whatever. It's football to us. This is how we're gonna call it. It's
interesting.
So
I don't know what's interesting.
You look at, and obviously the funny thing is all the mean comments after we beat them 5. She was like, "Oh, yellow face, Jazz, blah blah blah." It's like, wow, we're real dicks when we win. No wonder everyone hates us. Real assholes.
There's no reason to.
We're real assholes when we win. But anyway, so you look at it's funny because talk about, oh, America will never be good. Never win. The rest of England, Europe, whatever, anywhere else says, oh, you guys suck. You're never going to win the World Cup. South America does this too. You're never going to win. Blah, 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 blah. America sucks. You guys will never. And it's funny because you look at, if we devoted enough time, if soccer was as popular in America as American football, I had to stumble there, but I think we would, because you look at the American women's team and we won. We not only won, we destroyed. And we've won the only team in the Women's World Cup to win 4 in a row or something like that.
Was it?
Something like that.
Well, yeah, but apparently the U.S. women's team has the most money out of all, the most support out of all women's teams.
Because, and you look, because
in any sport,
in terms of women in America, soccer is their sport. Like soccer, volleyball, and basketball, 2-3 huge things.
And tennis.
And tennis. But I think soccer is number one. And there's huge support for women's soccer in America. Like a lot of the women who are in sports play soccer, and we have a huge pool to pick from. Whereas men, not much, because now there's not a big jump for professional soccer in America. But if now, but
might be in sometime in the future.
If we had the same pool, I think we'd win. No, hands down. I think if we focused as much effort as the rest of the world does, I think we could win.
If the championships for the U.S. was U.S. against North Korea, U.S. against Russia, and U.S. against China,
we'd be there.
There'd be more support.
Yeah, but it's interesting. With on another note is the NFL, the American Football League, trying to expand into Europe and Asia.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, which is interesting. Roger Goodell wants to make it global, which is kind of weird if you ask me. I feel like the rest of the world wouldn't enjoy American football.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's interested in that.
Apparently it has a pretty big following in England and somewhat of a big following in Japan, which makes kind of weird. Like
Nihon.
Yeah, Nippon. But I just feel like I don't think those two countries really get into it. Not saying that they can't. I just don't see why they would be interested in it. I mean, the reason American football is so big is because it's been here since it started. Had it not been here since it started, I don't know how big it would be.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I mean, it's probably the most exciting sport to watch.
I mean, depends how much they're going to get paid. If they get paid a lot over there, then there'll be a huge...
Yeah, if they get paid a lot of money.
If they get paid as much as they do over a year.
Yeah.
Then there'll definitely be people playing it.
Interesting. Because you look at it all. It's I don't know. It'd be interesting. We wonder which will happen faster. Will soccer become bigger over here, or will American football become bigger over there? Which one will happen first? I would go with the soccer.
I would go with soccer too. It's easier.
Doesn't cost as much money, and more people.
Yeah, you just need a ball.
And more people like it. So.
Unless obesity becomes more of a problem.
Yeah.
Did you hear about? Speaking of obesity, there's this woman saw this article that they were talking about how she's like 400 pounds and she was driving. She crossed the red light, hit somebody, killed them. They died 3 weeks later in the hospital, and now they're trying to send her to jail. But she says she's too fat and that she wouldn't be able to it wouldn't be good for her to be in jail, basically. She wouldn't be able to survive in jail or something like that. And they're like, well, that's what jail's for people that commit crimes, and you're not supposed to be happy when you're going to jail.
Yeah, jail's not a place for fun. Jail's not a place for happiness. It's a place for you being punished for doing something wrong.
So they're trying to get her off on the fact that she's too fat to go to jail.
Oh, that's just dumb. Well, there's people who get off and too rich to go to jail.
Yeah, well, that was that one kid who murdered that person, and he got off
Yeah,
the fact that he was too rich, so he didn't understand the consequences of taking a human life.
Yeah, he was like drunk driving or something, and he like crashed and killed somebody, and then he's like, I didn't understand I'm too rich to understand.
Too privileged
to understand the consequences of my actions, and he got off of that. That's
and
the
he
part
got
that
off
gets
of
me.
it.
Like, how can
Judge
you be
was
so
probably
rich
paid off
that you can't? Which obviously isn't true. He definitely did understand the consequences of his actions. He was just
definitely.
rich and got off. It's like, that's so dumb.
The judge probably paid off or something.
Yeah, I mean, his dad was probably a CEO of whatever.
That's ridiculous. How a rich person could just murder somebody openly
And
then say, "Nope, I didn't know that he'd die." That's ridiculous. Hopefully, this fat woman doesn't get off on it. 400 pounds, jeez.
Like, you can't. If it was anybody else, we'd have no excuse.
I think it's actually in the UK. It's not even here, which is a weird part.
Wow. Well, there's obviously this ridiculous. That's dumb. That's there, but. Like we got in a car accident, or like we killed somebody, accidentally, or not accidentally,
or not
purposely, because they're fucking bastards. No, we might have to edit out all the swearing.
Nope, keep it in.
Oh, yeah.
I'll make it louder. That'd
be funny. Just like fuck, like that's super loud. Like, geez, that was a good podcast.
That was unnecessary.
Very unnecessary. We'd be jail instantly. That's it. And it's like, you can't, like, there's no amount of money should give you that much power. That shows you something is definitely wrong with society.
When you get too rich to get a job, that's so ridiculous, dude. That's just.
I wish I was that rich.
yeah. I didn't understand that getting into a car drunk.
And then killing someone.
And killing somebody was wrong.
I don't understand.
I just have to turn on the TV, and right there they'll tell me that it's not a good thing to do. Right when you get a license, you know that it's not the correct thing to do. Driving drunk. Brought to you by the driving drunk.
There's
this entire thing was an advertisement for
somewhere. And that's paid by the. Well, we're not gonna say paid by the Department of Transportation Anti-Drunk Driving Department. Department of Transportation Anti-Drunk Driving Department.
There you go. All right, so we're on to our last thing. That was sports.
Yeah, that was sports. Now we're on to any sort of current event. Mm-hmm. Current events you know of?
That I know of.
Oh, I got one. The El Chapo escape.
Oh yeah, the El Chapo escape.
And how Donald
Trump's brother.
Brother. The only podcast. I'll say it now. This is the only podcast where you find a Mexican and a white guy.
And we're friends. Can you believe that?
Can you believe that?
His white privilege keeps me down.
My evil. I just come over and show off my riches.
Yeah.
I make sure to deny all his job interviews. And I just run. I'm like, quick, don't do it. He's Mexican. They're like, oh, we're done.
Every time I go to a job interview, you sign up too.
Yep. I'm like, oh,
and,
no.
And then as soon as they accept you, you quit.
Just so you can't get the job. I pay people. I pay people, the white people, to line up and the jobs that you're going to and get the job first.
That'd be funny, except not.
No, like
so about Chapo.
I heard he had a tweet to Donald Trump about, you better not fuck with the Mexicans.
Yeah.
Something along.
That's probably why he got out of jail.
Yeah, honestly, he probably could have got out of jail whenever he wanted to. He just decided to do it now because Donald. Trump.
Right. Yeah, probably just to get Donald Trump or something.
Yeah, I mean, who
knows what he's gonna do?
When you call an entire class of people rapists, it's probably not a good idea.
No, probably not a good idea, especially when there's cartels in Mexico.
Yeah.
When Mexicans are murderers too.
Yeah, it's like when there's cartels, when there are people who would take offense to that.
Very strong people.
Yeah,
they don't have very, very good control of their
sanity.
Basically,
it's interesting.
What next, Adam?
It's over. They're gonna hear this podcast and kill us.
This podcast.
No, don't kill me. Don't kill me.
Oh, we actually got hurt by famous people.
And we did, just not the right kind of famous people.
Just not the ones we wanted.
Oh, man. But yeah, so any thoughts on that? Any thoughts on Donald Trump and how stupid he is?
I'm not really. I ignored. I don't really care.
Donald Trump says you just like whatever.
Yeah, it's just Donald Trump. Just a rich guy.
Yeah, just doing what rich guys do.
Basically. Hopefully, just as long as he doesn't get voted to president. If he does, I'm out of here.
It's like George Lopez says, if he gets elected, oh, you don't have to worry about immigration. The Mexicans will be out of here.
Basically. And he says he's going to get the Latin vote.
Yeah, that's a funny one. That's a laugh. That's probably from The Onion.
Nope, it was actually he did.
Wow. Well,
and then one of the newest advertisements he had there was a Nazi soldier on it, but the tweet got taken down on the advertisement. I don't know if maybe somebody didn't notice it, but on one of his current advertisements for president, there was a Nazi soldier there.
Jesus. Wow.
Well, his campaign's going pretty good. But luckily, he's the top percent for the Republicans right now. So.
Oh, that's Republican. So.
He definitely won't make it, though.
No, he ain't gonna make it.
I don't even think the Republicans are gonna support him.
Yeah, I don't think the Republican is gonna win.
It's a battle between Hillary Clinton and who's the other person? Who's the other person that's pretty big?
Bernie Sanders. No,
Bernie Sanders.
Is it Bernie Sanders?
I think so.
He's actually pretty interesting. The only reason I like Bernie Sanders is because he seems to be honest.
Yeah,
I mean, he seems to tell you how it is, which is what I like in a candidate. Just, for whatever. I mean, obviously, I want you to have, have relatively good policies or try to implement relatively good policies. But just the fact that he says, just say it. Don't none of this bureaucratic BS. Just say what it is. Say the current situation of America. Say what you think. Just
it's shitty.
Yeah. I mean, if it is, say it. I mean, all the, it's funny. Is one of these guys, some political person got in trouble for calling the American people stupid, and I'm like, you mean? And they was like, oh, how dare you call us? It's like, no, you're right. We are pretty stupid. I mean, collectively, we aren't very smart. The American people. I mean, we're still trying to, the whole, the Confederate flag.
The Confederate flag.
You're taking away my liberty, my right. But what it means to me, it's my heritage. And yeah, the heritage of you beating the shit out of other minority, black people. It may be to you, but to all the other people living there, it's like the whole point of social progression is we're the only country going. I mean, we take one step forward, 2 steps back. It's like
in some stuff, yeah.
Every other country on the planet is laughing at us for this shit. It's like and I mean the whole get rid of the immigrants. I'm like, we are immigrants too. It's like why? I mean, yes, okay, we're not really immigrants, we're conquerors, but
yeah.
It's like I understand, okay. Fine. What I really don't understand is people in the North flying the Confederate flag. I'm like, you have ancestors that fought against the South, died against the South, and here you are flying the flag of the enemy.
Confederate flag. It's so weird.
Kind of dumb. And it is people masking, take my freedoms away, my liberties. I'm like, really? Could you name me what liberties are being taken away by taking flags down in public places?
Yeah.
I don't see why.
Can you still buy one, though?
I don't know.
Or are they going to make that illegal?
I don't think they'll make it illegal. I don't think it'll be possible. People are going to hang it in their own home, whether you do it or not. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's.
Could you hang a Nazi flag outside, though?
Probably not. I don't know. Honestly, I don't. I feel like the people.
We should try it. No, just
it's a great idea.
Hang it on your car like a Dukes of Hazzard.
On the east side.
Nazi flag.
You're a huge concentration of Jews.
Of Jews, yeah. That'd be funny.
I don't know. It's really kind of interesting. I don't know. America's an interesting place. The rest of the world's very far, but what people have to understand about America is that it's taken a while for us to catch up. At the end of World War II, we were the good guys, so we didn't have to look at the faults in our society. We were allowed to call everyone else on their BS. We were like, oh, Germany, killing all the Jews, Japan, raping all of Asia, and we could say that. We could be like, I mean, it might not even been true, but we didn't care. We were the winners. So we never had to look in at our faults, and now it's years and years later, we're having to look at maybe we're not as great as we thought we were.
Maybe.
I mean, you look compared to we're still like the highest country immigrated to on the planet, which is baffles me.
That's where a lot of the problems in the U.S. come from. It's just there's so many different people, so many different ideas. Unlike a lot of these, European countries are starting to have that problem too.
Yeah,
now.
I know, because a lot of people are immigrating. There's tension now, because a lot of these, for a long time, nobody wanted to go near Europe because of the wars and everything. It was still recovering all that time, and now that there's immigration, it's starting to
they're starting to have the same problems
as that we are. I mean, there's so many people coming to this country. There's just too many conflicting views. What people don't realize is that while the South lost, they never went away. The racists, they stayed. I mean, they're still there to this day.
Yeah.
I mean, we can see it clearly. They're not over it either.
Somehow.
I mean, and it's coming. Yeah, right now. Well, again, it's becoming harder to socially change. Now, obviously, the whole gay marriage thing, that was legal everywhere else, mainly. But the United States, like I said, the rest of us have to look and say, okay, it's the U.S. They're getting there. We're getting it because we're finally having to look at ourselves and go, is this really right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying you want to get I'm not saying have wussification, if you want a word I made up. You don't be a wuss. Have okay, we do this and this. Obviously, you got to stand for some things, but people who burn the American flag or step on the actual American flag. It's you do kind of live here, and that's the symbol of the country. Confederate flag, I can understand. That symbolizes the Confederate States of America, which lost and should no longer exist. In my, all I'm saying is, people in the South, obviously, they're not going to let go of that because that's their history. They're not going to want to let go of it, and they don't care if it offends other people. That's their history. And is it sad that they hang on to that? Maybe to the rest of us, we're going, why do you hang on to that? But to them, it's their history. They're going, we had plantations, we were rich, we had all this. I mean, in the South they had loads of money because they could just grow cotton and not have to pay anybody.
Yeah.
So you look at that and they're like,
that's helpful.
Yeah, it's kind of useful. So I don't know. It's I think people should try to be. I'm not saying you don't have to destroy your family heritage. I'm just saying be a little bit more conscious about other people's feelings. That's all.
Yeah. So, a lot of people don't want to be.
Not really.
It's easier to not be.
A lot easier to not be. You hear about the. Also, another thing, I think there's an art gallery in New York. A lot of Asian and Japanese style paintings. So a bunch of people gathered there and dressed up in kimonos.
Oh yeah,
to celebrate,
and
a bunch of Asians, right? Calling them racist.
Yeah, that's so dumb.
A lot of people,
even though all Japanese people are like, "Oh, that's perfectly fine."
Yeah, even though the Japanese are like, "Oh, that's cool," and it'd be like cosplay. It's literally like cosplaying, like going to an anime convention. So we're racist, actually, because we enjoy Japanese culture.
For sure. Yeah, that's so stupid.
I mean, and the people's like, now if
the only people that were offended by it are Japanese Americans, but they're more American than Japanese. So.
Chinese, not only Japanese Americans too. What the fuck are you?
What are you getting?
Yeah,
if the Japanese people think it's perfectly fine,
the people who actually
there's no reason that the American Japanese here should be.
Yeah, I'm like, why? We're not appropriating our culture. I'm like, no, we're appropriating black culture. But we're not making kimonos ours. We're just respecting the kimono. We're respecting the Japanese culture.
Well, I mean, it's like if any time a Japanese person put on a traditional European dress,
yeah,
you're not gonna call him racist for that.
No,
you're gonna go, oh, it's a dress, and then that's it.
Yeah, if they put on
because it's
an English dress, no, nobody's gonna call you racist. It's because this in America there's two sides of the thing. There's the super racists, and then there's the social justice warriors who infected this country like a plague. Like you can't spit in a direction without offending somebody.
Without offending.
I understand to a point, being self-conscious about somebody's feelings, but to be offended by that, it shows you that there's a you don't want to go. We don't want this to become Orwellian that you just can't even think. Thoughts that interpreted to me as offensive, so you have to stop that right now. It's like no, it's like grow a backbone.
But yeah, just putting a kimono isn't very racist either.
And it's celebrating not celebrating the white conqueror of Japan, celebrating Japanese culture. We're not appropriating it. We're celebrating. We are interested. We like the Japanese culture. We admire it. That's admiring. See, there's difference that we've appropriated the black culture as in because Iggy Azalea not admiring the people who did it before us, the African Americans who built hip hop and did all that, which is there's a huge difference between the two, and they're saying, oh, you're appropriating it, you're doing the same thing you did to black culture, blah 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 blah. It's like, no, we just really admire Japanese culture.
Basically,
it's just
you shouldn't. People just get offended by the easiest things. I mean, the people that are getting offended aren't even the people that should be offended.
They're like Asian. They're not even vulgar. They're just Asian Americans.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what?
Which basically means they're Americans.
Yeah, which just means they're Americans.
Oh man.
That'd be like a Mexican American getting offended by me wearing a sombrero or eating a taco.
Nobody gets offended by that.
No, I like sombreros. They're nice hats. Or me eating a taco, or me eating a taco. Oh, you're appropriating my culture. It's like, no, I'll tell you, the tacos you guys make are pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty delicious. It's like this whole, again, you have to balance it. You can't just be totally anti everything white people do all the time forever, and you can't be totally anything white people do is okay no matter what the consequences are. It's like you have to
find a balance.
A balance.
I think people are still trying to find a balance between those two.
And it's taking in this country, not just in Europe too. I mean, they're having to face it now. I mean, for a lot of the time, Norway was inhabited by Norwegians, not really anybody else. Now there's a lot of North African and Middle Eastern immigrants in there, and they're having to cope. I think they're doing a pretty good job of it, considering all the things that are happening. I think America is too, considering we have way more immigrants. I mean, obviously it needs to improve a lot, but we're trying. We're getting there. So.
Starting to get up.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we've been doing for an hour. I have to go sometime soon for work.
Yeah, I got to work today too. Yay!
Sounds like it's going to be fun.
Of course it will. All right, well.
So we recorded this on Wednesday. We'll be uploading this. By the day you guys are watching this, it'll be Thursday. Thursday? Yes.
Yes, today is Wednesday. Sure.
So hopefully you guys liked this first episode of this amazing podcast, right?
And we've talked about everything we're going to talk about. This is the first and only podcast because we're out of
we ran out of topics.
We talked about every topic we had. But yeah, so obviously, more there'll be more podcasts, more video games, more current events, more news, more sports as the world goes on.
Yeah, basically. We'll never run out of topics. And if you guys have any topics that you guys want us to talk about, even in the comments. Any
sort of porn comments, I'm there. We can talk about that all
We can talk about porn all day.
We can do a 24-hour. Lots of referencing material. But yeah, so yeah, like you said, anything you guys want to talk about, we are game to talk about it. All day, any day.
All day, any day. I'm not sure when we're going to be, when the main day we're going to be uploading. Maybe, I think once a week is good enough, isn't it?
Yeah, once a week. I mean, yeah, because then it gives times for topics to come out, like current events or any sort of games or anything. Time can pass.
Mm-hmm. Unless it gets insanely popular. Millions of views.
Then we got to do it every day. Oh, man.
All right.
Well, yeah, so my name is Adam, and
I'm Guillermo, and this has been
the podcast that we haven't thought of a name for. What was the name for the podcast going to be?
I'm not sure. We can think of one. Currently, for right now, we're just calling it Nerds, Sports, and Life.
All right, well, this has been Nerd, Sports, and Life.
And sign out.
See you guys later.